Early
Don't
is not
say
perfect.
that. Don't say that too much, because then Russ will get used to it.
Yeah, early is
That
not
is
perfect.
true. That is true. Well, you guys, happy Monday. We're actually early today. We were just talking about how this never happens for us. So please
Early
don't get
is
used
not
to it.
perfect, Amy.
We cannot guarantee it. But hey, you guys are tuning in to Author Talk. You guys know me, Amy, here with lovely co-host Russell and Fern, and our lovely guest today is Vincent Haywood. So everyone, hey, how are you guys doing? How was everybody's weekend?
My weekend was great. I took my little Tasmanian tornado camping.
Oh,
My
how was
little
that?
granddaughter.
Little
She
Vivi.
goes around
Oh.
knocking everything, destroying everything, and I took her over to the Discovery Green. They have a new $2 million new playground that they just opened. It's been ready for 9 months, but they couldn't open it. And they just opened it last week, and so she spent the night. And I took her over there, and without her mother or father finding out, so I don't get in trouble, I let her play there till 9 o'clock at night till she was so tired I had to carry her home.
Oh, I love that. I love hearing stories of Grandpa Russell. I love it. You're such a sweetheart. I really just, you make my heart melt. Fern, what did you do?
I went to get my second shot of the Pfizer vaccine.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I didn't do much of anything. I just relaxed, didn't really have too many horrible symptoms. I just had really achiness.
Yeah.
And achiness, and I kept medicating myself with the Tylenol, so I keep it as far away as possible. But I mean, I essentially rewatched all the Hunger Games, because I had seen it in such a long time, so I just was like, I'm just gonna watch it.
the
And
Hunger Games, the female hero in that is so much like your female heroes.
yeah, she is.
It's a
And
lot like your female heroes.
you know what I love about it is that she captures for young people, because the book is really for younger audiences, and she captures the essence of PTSD. I mean, she really shows how this situation of having to go through this really does affect them. I mean, she is not the same person ever again after having to go through it the first time, and then the second time really breaks her, and by the end of the book, I mean, everything that has happened has really broken her. I didn't like, and I still don't like, the ending of the movies. The ending of the movies kind of left it positive, like, oh, she had a good life after that. And in the book, Susan Collins doesn't. She just, Katniss is broken at the end of the book, and I think that's more realistic to what happened to her. But it's very good. I love the acting. I mean,
the trouble is, in American literature today, especially, is readers demand a happy ending. They just demand it. It's one of the things I hate about not 2021 American literature. Vincent, jump in here anytime.
Vincent, what did you do this weekend?
Huh?
What did you do this weekend?
I'm just listening because I know that Russell and Fern probably had some amazing stories, even though this is only about the weekend. My weekend was a little bit somber, Amy, because my wife and I actually went to Dallas because we had a relative on her side of the family who was 26 years old with a 1-year-old child also in the vehicle that was struck, and neither one of them survived. So we attended a memorial service, but other than that, my wife and I used it as somewhat of a mini vacation as well, because we actually had a 2-night stay. The services was on Saturday, and we went out Friday, enjoyed ourselves Friday, and the memorial service made it very, very, very accepting. in a more of a positive note, and it wasn't as somber. But when you're dealing with a memorial service, sometimes it can be somber. But I believe everybody received it in the right way. So after the conclusion, we had a balloon release at another location, and everybody was fine. We sat around Saturday evening and enjoyed some popcorn. Popcorn in the room, and just sat down and just discussed things
Nice.
pertaining to the marriage and my Lord. And I was just thinking about what Fern was saying about binge watching. This year, I started in January binge watching Game of Thrones. And
Oh,
my Lord, I could not stop watching it. I watched it all the way until the dragon woman was stabbed in the stomach. And I watched it all the way. I loved it. I loved
nice.
Vincent, that shows a disease. It consumes your
it.
life.
I love that show. I love that show.
Great
Well,
show.
I sure hope they have a cure for it, because if there's a sequel, I'm going to be glued to the screen.
There will be. There will be. They already announced they're thinking of doing like a prequel of like how the Targaryens came over and took over Westeros, and they're talking about like doing an Arya spin-off of like what happens with her. So they will keep us in Game of Thrones fix for a while.
Nice.
I'll tell you, the biggest issue I had with Game of Thrones is when they broke their own rules of their world. I can't stand that. That just really bugs me. The whole like dragon scene. The White Walkers aren't supposed to be able to swim, and yet they swam down there to hook up the dragon. An episode ago they weren't able to swim. What's up with that?
You're just mad because they killed the dragon.
I
That's
was
all
not
that
happy
is.
about that,
It's
but
just a dragon.
honestly, just don't break the rules of the world. Once you set rules in place, keep them, unless there's a real specific reason of why it's being broken, and there just wasn't, because there was no need. The White Walker didn't have to like touch anybody else to make the thing wake up as a White Walker, right? I mean, it died in the north. It should have just risen, evil dragon, but that's just Fern, the author, being nitpicky there, or the editor,
I love it. I love it. So, you guys, this weekend I had a very eventful weekend. So, if you guys are friends with me on Facebook, you all saw the massive hail that I got hit with on Thursday. I mean, this sucker was like baseball-sized hail, and I guess my neighborhood was the only one that got hit in the city. So Friday, we had all kinds of roofing companies from all over going up and down this whole neighborhood. So I was bombarded with bangs on my door. But, they were all super nice, super lovely people. We're getting all of our damage fixed. So, I'm all good with that. Saturday was super fun for me. I had a board meeting with Authorology. That was cool. And then I did the SciFiCon with Greg Kelso at 4. So we had a fantastic conversation with Devin. So you should go over to the Con Hour and listen to it. Fantastic time. And then, Sunday I got to breathe and relax. And then I was getting all nervous about my shot today. So we're just going to see what happens with my shot. Okay. So I go for my shot at 11:30. You guys cross your fingers, your legs, say a prayer for me that it all goes smooth. I'm not a needle person. I don't like needles. I just can't do it. So
look the other way. Just look the other way when she.
I anticipate.
You won't even feel it. You won't even feel it. You won't even feel it. You won't feel it. You'll be like, did you really hit me?
I hope not.
You won't feel it.
Amy, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna see this huge needle that takes.
Russell.
And you can hear it go into your arm.
You are so mean, Russell. You are so mean.
And then And
Oh,
then you have to wait forever for them to squeeze the liquid into.
Russell, why did I say anything with you on? Oh,
And
you're
you
not
can
my
feel
favorite.
it work its way through your
Why are
body.
you being so descriptive? It's like you're a writer or something. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. But no, Russell, I need you to unmute yourself because you're going to tell everyone about our YouTube channel and what they should go and do to help us over on YouTube.
Okay, everybody, we need your help because the world is run by algorithms and so is YouTube. And to help us get YouTube to suggest Author Talk on YouTube to more viewers that would be interested in Author Talk because of their algorithms, we need for you to go watch the YouTube the video from today from Vincent, like it and make a comment and subscribe to it, and the little bell. So then every week when Amy loads it up, it will remind you to go there and do the same, and that will help us change our algorithm. Thank you, Amy.
Yes. So with that, you guys head over to YouTube. If you're not already there, hit the bell so the unit goes a little ding, and then you'll get notified every time that we come on live Mondays at 10 a.m.
And one more thing, if Vincent's fans, and I'm sure he has a lot of them because of all the things Amy has said about him, if they will share this video too, we would appreciate it, and it would help not only Vincent but us.
Yes. So with that being said about Vincent, you are the man of the hour. So Fern, take it away.
But technically, it's a half an hour.
I
But
know, but I like the man of
It
the hour.
better be.
You are the man of the spotlight, okay?
you're in the spotlight. So Vincent, I was online looking at your book, and it looks like an amazing read and an amazing journey story for you. Tell me a little bit about what is the book, and what made you decide to write it. That's always what I want to know.
Wow.
Is what made you decide to write it?
Wow. What made me decide to write it was the testimonies that I have. That was pretty much created over a course of my life from 25 years old to 30 to 36 years old. There was a number of things that transpired in my life that had to be placed on paper and in a book. So that's what inspired me more than anything, just knowing that the testimonies that I had was going to help someone as well. So instead of always getting in front of a crowd as a speaker as well, I wanted to put it in a book. So that's what made me decide to put it in a book. Testimonies.
So tell us a little bit about what are some of your testimonies. Like, what is obviously your life in the beginning and to now is hugely different, right? What made that change? What was it that turned you around from the path that you were going on?
Wow. If I were to answer that, the subtitle of the book is From Prison to Promise. From Prison to Promise. And prison has a very unique way of changing you. And what made it easy for me was that I was able to submit to what I was going through and accept what I was going through. It's a story of transparency. I was very transparent, a story of repentance and a story of restoration. So when I look back over that period of time, the subtitle is what motivated me in regard to answering your question, From Prison to Promise. And the life that I spent in there, the period of time that I spent in there, I was able to get out and really, really embrace my manhood. doing that before I went into prison, I was really operating more in a male perspective. But when I came out, I was operating and walking from a man perspective.
Hmm. Oh, that is an interesting differentiation. So how are you, you know, okay, the question would be like, what's the difference? What's the difference between just a male perspective versus being a man? How are you
Well, from a male perspective, you you tend to function from a, I would say, a fleshly or approach where you operating from a biological standpoint. Every male, every man was born a male, but every male has to evolve into a man or has to work himself it as a man. It's just the same as males can father children, but that doesn't make them a man. So when I became incarcerated, I was still functioning as a male for my state of mind. And when my state of mind changed, when I learned to take to be a man, because I fathered 3 children before going into prison, fathered 3 children, and I was operating in a state of manhood. I mean, male, from a male perspective, because I didn't take care of the children, didn't want to take care of the children, and and that's what that was part of the reason why I landed where I was in prison to really embrace my manhood there.
And that is such a critical thing for today. You know, I mean, we're looking at a lot of issues with the criminal system, right? There's a call for reform, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of articles about like these, you know, prisons that are being run for profit. Um,
Mhm.
what you having been in a prison, um, you know, how do you see these issues? Because you experienced being in one, and you came into it to a stronger and better life, but that's not the norm. You know, how do you see the system, and what are your thoughts on these calls for reforming it?
Well, very political question, but it deserves an answer from an individual who have actually walked the prison floors and grounds and for 11 and a half consecutive years. Uh, when I went into prison, I actually experienced firsthand what the profit was, uh, being how the profit was manifested. Um, when I think about it, is 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 a level of employment that you have in prison. You can you can work in the kitchen, you can work in the field, you can work in the laundry room, and each one of those levels of employment inside the prison system, you are also helping to create something that goes out into society. For instance, when I was on the Ramsey 2 unit, the Ramsey 2 unit is the trustee unit of Ramsey 1. In the trustee unit, you have a certain level of privileges that come along with that. And I was able to operate a tractor with a bush hog on the back of it. And what I did with it, I would go outside the prison walls and cut the fence line all the way down from the prison unit to 288. It was about a 3-mile stretch and come all the way back the same way and then cross over the road and go over to the next side. And then before I did that, I was on Ramsey 1 and I worked in the field. I picked cotton, I picked cabbage, I picked, oh my God, we used an Aggie as our lawnmower to cut the grass, to till the soil. So I saw firsthand the profit behind. And that's what comes to mind when I think about the profit part of the prison system. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So for you, the being able to work there and being able to find that your labor, right? Your labor, uh, that's what helped you to stay strong. Is that what made you decide, when I get out of here, I'm going to have a different life. I'm going to do something with my life.
I would no, that's not exactly what made me strong. What made me strong was getting involved from an educational standpoint. In the prison system, they had Alvin Community College and the University of Houston Clear Lake come inside of the prison unit, and I took full advantage of that. I uh, I exited a prison with an associate degree in liberal arts. I started working on my master's in psychology at the University of Houston Clear Lake, and I became very acquainted with the spiritual part of my life. I embraced from the beginning. I embraced Christianity, and then I even started studying Islam as well. So it was a nonstop nonstop activity for me. And also, I did a lot of working out in the gym. Uh, I walked the rec yard as much as I possibly could to make connections with God as often as possible. I had a system and a blueprint on what I wanted to do while I was in there. So everybody goes a different route, when they get in there. But my route was to educate myself.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I love that you're mentioning the power of education. And because it does get you into a whole new realm when you're focused on learning, as a lifelong learner. People, I think, you should never stop learning. Education doesn't really stop when you leave the schoolroom. You just keep on learning as you go. Um, when you started writing the book, and now that it's on the cusp of coming forth, what are you hoping will happen with this book? What do you hope that people will take away from it?
Well, my hope is that it touched the lives of people who read it. That is my number one hope, that it touches the life of someone who reads it and can say to themselves, wow, if he went through that and came out on on a different side that most people do, I have more of a success story than a failure story. And if he can do that, what makes what makes me think that I can't do it as well? And the book is full of some testimonies that the average person do not experience. I mean, just thinking about one of the testimonies, if I may mention, is when I got out of prison, I married 6 months after getting out. Well, 7 years into that marriage, I woke up Christmas morning to find my wife's head buried in the pillow. And she had suffered from one of the seizures that she was uh, hampered by. And I had a 2-year-old daughter sitting in the bed with me. And when I noticed that I couldn't resuscitate her, I had to seek paramedic help. And they came in and tried to resuscitate her to no effect. And that was one of the biggest testimonies that I have in the book that really changed my life from practicing as a Muslim to a Christian.
Mm. Yeah. And then to raise the baby, being
Yes.
a sole father. Yeah.
See, I will say something. I have had the honor of reading Vincent's book, and it is it can be, heavy at times, but it's a very inspirational story, in my opinion, because we all go through ups and downs. That's part of life, right? That's what makes life beautiful and not beautiful at times, is we all go through ups and downs. But the outcomes of those situations and how you use them, and you can see, God's influence and people's influences on your life, and how you make the decision, to do better and to be better. Vincent, I mean, I find your book to be very inspirational and kind of empowering for people that have like struggled, or have come out of prison, and that can be difficult to make that adjustment and do things. So it's very inspirational. I love your book for that aspect, that inspiration, your story. You're letting people in, and you're being vulnerable, and you're being honest, and it's a fantastic story. I recommend it. It's amazing, your book, in the way that you speak about it. But some cool things have come about, Vincent. So you also have a podcast that you do, and you also are a life coach, right?
Well, I don't have a podcast, but I am a life coach.
Okay.
I am a life coach. I've done 4 podcasts so far.
There you go. I know you were on one with Percy. Yeah.
Yes. 17 and Beyond Life Coaching came about. It was a vision that I received after my completion of 17 consecutive years out of prison. And I also collaborated the 17-year-old youth with that as well, because that being the age in which most youth start to make very critical decisions in their lives at 17, including wanting to get out of the house of their parents. So 17 and Beyond was birthed from, first and foremost, having successfully lived in society for 17 years after getting out, and then also collaborating that with young adults as well from 17 and beyond.
And you know what I love most, and because my book is all about that too. My first book is about people that make horrible mistakes, and coming back from a mistake. That is huge, because just because you made a mistake, no matter how horrible it is in the beginning, doesn't mean that has to define the rest of your life. And I think you're a walking testimony to the fact that you can have made some mistakes and come back and become a stronger person. So I really love that part of this book, and the hope that it gives people, that it doesn't matter what you've done, doesn't matter how dreadfully you failed. You can come back. It ain't gonna be easy. The road's never easy, but it's not easy even if you don't make hard mistakes. Even if you make small mistakes, it's still a hard road to go.
Yes.
But there's hope.
Under no circumstances it was easy. It was easy because mentally and psychologically it takes a toll on you. When you get out of prison, you're being told, you're not going to be able to get a job here. And then when you go and the doors are slammed in your face, and you have to find something inside of you that's going to help you to push forward, or as Christians would say, press through. So I was able to really press through during a time where that was even a time where I attempted suicide. So when I say it wasn't easy, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but still, I still believe to this day that God had his hand on me. I woke up in Brazoria County Jail one morning, and I actually thought I was right back in prison when I woke up. But the guard came and opened the door and the gate and said, you're free to go. And the most ironic thing about that, Amy and Fern and Russ, that I never received any type of DWI or DUI or anything, because I know I was intoxicated from the very beginning, because I was trying to take my life. And when I woke up, I was behind bars again.
Wow.
So I agree with you 1000%. It is not easy at all. Not easy at all.
And it is hard. The darkness presses in on you. Things look hopeless, but you have to be like, and I'm gonna get, religious. You have to cling to hope. You have to be a prisoner of hope. That's what the Bible says. You got to be a prisoner of hope.
Yep.
And as long as you hold on to hope, there's always going to be a light that pulls you through, because I don't know. I mean, I know that I've had thoughts of like, why am I even here? Maybe I should just transition.
Well, I've actually said that to you a couple of times when you're giving me a hard time.
Oh, Russell.
Vern, why are you here?
I don't even know why I'm here. I don't even know. But I do trust that God has a destiny for each of us, and we all have a part to play to help each other, to serve each other. I really think that's the power of it. If we focus on helping others, serving others, then our own life is not as heavy on us because we're focusing on helping other people, and you find support as well.
Vincent, I got to tell you, Vern has about 10% of her as preacher, and you got to watch her. And sometimes I read her books when she's working on her drafts, and I always, what do I say, Vern? Too much preaching. I said it this way. Sometimes Vern doesn't even know she's doing it. She'll go on like for 7 pages preaching.
Oh,
Here we go.
She has a calling. You have a calling, Fern.
I do get on a
She needs
soapbox.
to hang up on that calling.
No, Fern, I love you just the way you are. You're preaching and everything. I love it. Keep being you. But speaking of Fern, tonight on Through the Eyes of Authors, we do have Fern. She's joining us again. So Fern, give them a sneak peek of what you will be talking about tonight.
Well, tonight we kind of wrap up our, business of small press, and we're going to just talk about risk management. We're going to talk about what are some of the things that can come up, and how do you prepare ahead of time for those things, and being prepared for worst case scenarios. Hoping for the best but preparing for the worst. That's really the key to success in business and life.
Absolutely. That applies to all aspects of any part of our journey, right? Absolutely. So Russell, closing comments from you.
I want you to think about it till 11:30.
You are just so mean, Russell. Okay. I'm so he's talking about. That's the problem. Is like when he was describing it, I literally could picture it in my mind. Like that's just
I'm awesome. I'm an awesome author. I'm telling you.
I love you so much that today I hate you. That's how much I love you. Okay, like
I think you probably told your husband that several times too.
Oh, I don't tell him that I love him so much I hate him. I'll just be like, I hate you. Like, go away. Like, yeah. So you got it nicer than he does. So I mean, I'm just
the fact that Russell is an awesome author. When am I getting your book?
Oh,
time is ticking.
I think you guys have that door. I think your dog chewed it up. That I hate that dog.
Oh my goodness. Fern, closing comments from you, Fern.
Nothing much. Just, stay strong no matter what you go through. Keep the hope. Enjoy these beautiful books of inspiration like Vincent's, and, just hold on. Be a prisoner of hope. No matter what's going on, be a prisoner.
I love that. I love that. Vincent, any last things you'd like to mention?
Wow. Don't give up on God because he won't give up on you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good one. We're going to have to end it there. But Vincent, thank you so much for taking the time out to spend with us this Monday morning on Author Talk. I love being here with you, Russell and Fern. Vincent, I love you. Your book is amazing. See you guys.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.